Hello, thank you for joining. It's under Bill, it looks like.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I was like, oh,
Forget. You're like, who is this?
well, I'm excited. I'll just add other people as they join and we'll go through questions. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask them
Okay.
today.
I
So,
put, I put some in the
oh, perfect.
so
Yeah,
we'll
there's
go
a few
through
in here. So I'll start going through them. And if they spark any other questions, then just let me know and we can talk through it.
them.
Okay, so we will dive right in. How does one hit workout per week interfere, if at all, with strength gains? So I would say probably pretty minimal as far as like the interference goes. Um, I would probably pair a hit workout with an upper body day if I could, ideally, just because you're going to need more energy, more glycogen, all of that for a lower body training session. So then if you add the hit workout, it might interfere with some of that. Hypertrophy for lower body, just more likely. So I usually, if I want to do a more high intensity work, I will do that with an upper body day. And I'm thinking of like a long workout. If it's under 15 minutes, I think I would just do it before you train. Maybe swap the warm up for that because our warm ups are actually pretty glycolytic focused, and that would be just fine. So if you're like, I really want to do this hit workout, I would just do it before and use it as a warm up. It's just gonna bring oxygen and blood flow to your muscles and actually will probably benefit you. If it's like a longer one that's really taxing, then I would probably do it on another day, ideally, like a non-workout day, or next best would be an upper body day.
Okay.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden lost appetite or feel like it's challenging to eat as much, almost like metabolism has slowed down. First month felt amazing, now a little sluggish. So I would probably lower intake a little bit. I think this is going to kind of come down to how your body's responding. Are you feeling sluggish and it's a little bit hard to eat, or are you feeling kind of like fluffier, like you're putting on body fat?
Um, well, I was kind of feeling fluffier, but I think there was like some time of the month hormonal things, so I kind of
Mhm.
went through that, then I felt better. Then I lowered my calories, and I almost feel like when I lowered them, not that much, but just a couple hundred, I actually felt more sluggish. So then today I was like, maybe I should go back. I mean, it's not a lot, but
Yes.
so I don't know if it's like which thing it is. If it's like,
Uh-huh.
you know,
So hormones, obviously hormone fluctuations are going to impact hunger as well as just like water retention. So that's going to play into it. But when you say feeling sluggish, is it like energy is low or is it like my body feels like fluffy? Tell
yeah,
me
more
what.
just like a little lack of motivation or and I think some of it is like the newness kind of wore off,
Yeah.
like the first 4 weeks you're like, look at this is so great. And then it's like, yeah, like, just a little bit of that lacking the pop,
Mm-hmm.
lacking that like
Yeah.
and so some of it's probably a little bit in like aesthetic, but more so probably mental.
And it's more, would it be like all day or more so like with your training sessions? You're feeling
Yeah,
like,
just kind of like the training and then like
yeah.
how I view my body. Like I'm not as like, oh, the change, So I think I know the answer. It's just more like making sure I'm, yeah.
Yeah, I think as far as the like newness kind of wearing off, that's definitely normal. Now you're kind of into the phase of like checking the box, doing the thing because you know it's going to give you the results you want long term, but you're not maybe like feeling that initial gratification of like I'm moving towards my goals. It's more like now we're settling in. And so I think with that, obviously calorie intake, I would focus more on calorie intake with probably the scale and measurements. Like doing those daily scale readings, taking those weekly measurements will help you get a little bit more objective view of if your calorie intake is actually too high. So I would kind of prioritize that on before you drop your calories, I would make sure like either inches are going up or kind of the scale is consistently probably going up a little bit, then bring them down. Otherwise, I'd probably keep them the same. And then as far as training goes, just really like finding it's also the time of year. I think motivation in December is going to be lower where it's probably going to pick up again in January. And so and I'm the same way. I think everyone's kind of the same way with like work, training, all the things. We have a lot on our plate right now. And so some of those more challenging pieces that require more discipline are going to be harder to do. But also, giving into those areas of our life that require discipline are going to give us back a lot more. So it's like we want to keep doing them. So finding ways to be motivated, and maybe it's changing the time of day that you train. Maybe it's adding a little bit of caffeine, like in this month that maybe you wouldn't normally have, or maybe around your training session, you do a little bit more just to kind of help. Maybe for me, like having a friend come train, like just like asking a workout partner, maybe I don't normally need that, but right now that's helpful. Um, those are all kind of things that help me. Maybe if you normally train at home, maybe it's like, I'm going to go to the gym once or twice and just see if getting out of the house helps. Just like getting creative with
Changing it.
switching it up so that you can kind of feel motivated this month, knowing it's probably not going to be a for everything. It's probably for the next like 2 to 3 weeks at most. So that's what I would suggest. And then on the next question of will I still get gains doing two lower and one upper if I build muscle super quick and nervous about putting too much size up top? You probably won't be gaining a lot of muscle in your upper body, but you will probably be more maintaining it. I think you can, if you build muscle easily and you're doing one upper body session a week, I think you can maintain. That's what I do, and I maintain. I think if you added in, like, so for me, I just want to maintain on my upper body, but I do want a little bit more size on my shoulders and back. So usually I'll just add in maybe one exercise for each of those on a lower body day. And that will kind of give me those two sessions where I know I'm at least hitting those muscle groups twice, but it's not like a full upper body session, which is helpful. So that's probably what I would recommend if you want to keep putting on size in certain areas of your upper body, is maybe just adding in a little bit more on and off day. And then if I only do one upper, maybe you actually asked this, mix up movements or stick to doing one of the workouts for the next 4 weeks. So I would probably do alternate. I would do the first session one week, the second session the next, because they're going to be a little bit different. We're going to do like more horizontal pulling emphasis in one, more vertical pulling emphasis in another. We're going to do more of like a shoulder emphasis in one, more triceps and biceps in another. So alternating would give you just a more well-rounded approach. And then adding in whatever maybe you're trying to emphasize on your off day. And then um also talking through wins, back squatting and deadlifting with a barbell again. I love that, and I think that that is just so gratifying. I think when you haven't been using a barbell to get back into it, like nothing feels more empowering to me than moving a barbell. So I love that win. And then working through the friction with eating and happy to be seeing the benefits of fueling myself after having a couple weeks of the challenge. I love that. Especially on the fueling yourself. We were just talking about that actually in our fat loss cohort that's wrapping up, just how exciting it is to embrace being in maintenance and how good it feels to have consistent energy and consistent, like usually sleep is improved, stress is lower all of a sudden, or I know my body's ability to handle stress is much better when I'm not in a chronic calorie deficit. Um, just bringing food intake up all of a sudden, like my world feels easier. So I think paying attention to all those wins, especially just more of the biofeedback ones, like the ones that maybe you're not seeing in the mirror on the scale, and noticing those, like how is my resilience to stress? How am I around my family? Like how's my mood? How are my responses? Am I more calm? Am I finding just my nervous system being a little bit more at peace, and paying attention to those things and noting that when you are fueling your body and it has what it needs, then it really can thrive. And it's also fun to go into a workout. You're not always going to be motivated, but you're probably, once you get started, able to push a lot more weight, and that feels good compared to when you're eating less. So embracing those wins and knowing that's going to all help you build muscle too and feel your best. So I love that. And then another win from someone else was breaking free of the all or nothing mentality, especially over the holidays, working the something is better than nothing mentality and giving myself grace and knowing I can get right back on track as far as a win. I love that win. And I think this is definitely the time of year to embrace the something over nothing. I know that was me this past week. We traveled and then came home right into being sick and like having my son's birthday party and all of that. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to be 100% with what I want to do, but how can I at least check the box and have some intention still, whether that's way scaled down or, at 100%. Your 100% really is going to look different every day. So I think giving yourself grace there and knowing that that's something over nothing, like over the weeks and months and decades is going to be the trajectory is going to be so different than if we take an all or nothing mentality. So I love that. And on this one, what they're struggling with was injuries. Tweaked my back on deadlifts last week. So reducing weight, modifying movements, and just being grateful for what I can do. I love that. I think also, too, on that one, if you have any questions with rehabbing, let us know, and we're happy to help troubleshoot that. A lot of that is going to come to just what exactly she's doing, reducing the weight and modifying, and just so that way you can slow things down and really pay attention to that mind muscle connection with your core and probably more single leg stuff as well. And then I think on the feeling a little bit sluggish, motivation took a hit. I think we kind of talked through that one too. But if you have any more questions, let me know on that one. And then this next question, traveling for 2 weeks over the holidays, should I switch to Fit Foundations if I can't get into a gym? Absolutely. I would say if you don't have access to a gym, but you have access to some weights, like dumbbells, maybe resistance bands, then I would probably try to do the HF Physique at home version if you have the time to do the 30 or 60 minutes, want a little bit more volume, then I would probably just switch from the gym to home. But if you have very little equipment available to you and you're mostly doing body weight stuff, maybe you can pack some bands with you and that's all you have, then I would do Fit Foundations, which is 3 days a week, and then just focus on getting an extra movement through walking, maybe hitting the zone two, getting in some sprints or runs or walks. Then I think that would be a great alternative. Also, probably good to take a deload too and use the holidays as a time to do that. So, yeah. Any other questions from either of you that are on the call right now? Anything you guys want to talk through as far as kind of through the holidays and into the new year?
How many full rest days? Like, do you count? Like, I know there's a lot of like steady cardio. So, what do you not like count, but like, what do you count as a rest day, and how many like full days of not moving if like how would you break that up?
So I think it really comes down to how you feel. Like some people can handle a lot more movement and intensity than others. I know with each decade, I definitely need more rest. I need more rest now than I did 10 years ago, and even a little bit more rest than I did 5 years ago. But that doesn't mean I'm not moving my body. I I probably move my body 6 days a week. I lift three and I do cardio three. Um, one cardio and my cardio sessions will vary. Like one might be more intense, one's just like very chill zone two. So I think it comes down to recovery for the individual. And so anytime you feel like you're dragging and not recovering as well, then I would look at rest and first focus on resistance training. Like that's the top priority, especially if you want to build muscle and just for health and longevity. I would make sure you're getting at least 3 strength training sessions in a week. And then from there, like if you're doing 5, I would probably drop one of those, maybe go down to 4. And then from there, if you're doing cardio, maybe looking at cutting back there too. I would recommend for sure one full rest day a week where you're getting a walk in, but you're probably not doing any like zone two, three, four, and beyond on the cardio or lifting. But I think like yoga would be a great option on that day if you wanted to just do something and have an intentional movement, just having it be a little bit more restorative one day a week. Some people might need two, and I think some people might need three. So it really just comes down to the individual, how they're recovering, how their body's responding. If sleep is off, if training sessions, you feel like you're kind of going backwards in progress, if you're really sore all the time, those are all kind of good indicators that we probably need more rest. So, and then as far as like the app is concerned, I think that can be hard for some people because they think that they need to hit everything.
Right.
But I really want it to be sort of like a choose your own adventure in the app. I think most people will do those 4 strength training days. Maybe they'll do that optional glute day, or maybe they'll swap that for one of their other lower body days or an upper body day. So they're doing like 3 kind of lower body focus day, 1 upper. So those I wanted to give some flexibility so people could choose. And then if you're doing both of the zone twos and the sprints, that can be a lot. I would say most people cannot handle that much volume in a week. So deciding like maybe it's a 30-minute session you do on the lifting, you pair that with zone two on an upper body day, or kind of rearranging your week based on how you're feeling. But just know, I think the main thing I want people to know is I don't expect people to do all of that.
Right.
It's more kind of what are your goals, and I want to have an option so you can choose what's best for you, not feeling like you need to check off everything every day. We had one person one time actually think they were supposed to do all the workouts in the day. Fit foundations, both the 30s, the 60s. I'm like, whoa. So, but even in like the week, just know, you don't have to do that all. Usually, for my cardio, I will usually pair my sprints with a zone two day. So I'll start with sprints and then I'll just do like 20 minutes of zone two after. And then the other day will just be more of a zone two day. And then, yep, that's what someone just wrote. Athena just wrote that too. So, yep, mix upper body and sprints together because upper body isn't as taxing. I love that too. You could even, warm up with the sprints or cool down with the sprints. I think that's a great option. Or do half the sprints. So getting in, checking that box doesn't necessarily need to be the full length of everything also. So paying attention to recovery is big because if we're under recovered, we really aren't going to be thriving either. And sometimes more food isn't the answer. It's actually just more rest days. So that's a good question. Any other questions on anything? I hope everyone has an amazing holiday, Christmas, and our next call, I think, is scheduled for January 7th. So we'll do January 7th and then the 21st for January. So thanks for joining. I hope you have a great holiday. And then be sure to message us in the app if you have questions on anything this week.
Bye.
Thanks, ladies.